ching, 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 ching. Ho, 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 ho.
Brenton, what are you doing in my chimney?
Merry Christmas.
Brenton, oh my god, like, I thought we had that chimney plugged up. What are you doing in there?
Oh, what are you doing up today, my boy Nathan? Shouldn't you be in bed asleep and waiting for me to come in the dead of night and not be waiting for me to come deliver your presents? Ho, 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 ho.
No, Brenton, you're making me very uncomfortable. Please leave my home.
Ho, ho, ho.
Brenton, what are we doing?
Welcome to Classic Movie Banter, that show where Brenton molests Nathan sometimes. Well, that's not all we do on the podcast. We also talk about movies that are 20 years or older.
20 years.
And we tell you whether they're still worth watching today or whether they're worth...
They're worth doing what Brenton just did to me in the intro, like...
Yeah, they're worth, like, basically, like, throwing them in the fire, so when Brenton does come down your chimney, the fire's kind of stoked a bit, and maybe it'll burn me, but I'm pretty experienced at what I do, so I'll try to dodge the flames. But
any new listeners we try and get in this podcast, they're just going to be flurrying away, Brenton. Like, they're like, what are we doing this Christmas?
Nathan, you give me the duties of opening the show, and every week I fuck it up. Like, every week I just see, like, you just notice when, you see our audience members when they stop listening, and it's seriously, it's in like the first 30 seconds, and it's all
great if we had a graph. You just see like the numbers just swindle down, just like, oh no,
just plummet.
Oh
just
dear,
fucking plummet. Yes.
Oh dear.
But anyway,
Brenton, Merry Christmas. Look at the bloody snow that's in Australia right now. Plot twist: there's none of it because we get Christmas in summer.
Christmas is like meant to be experienced in summer. Wouldn't you agree?
I mean, it's pretty excellent. It's pretty awesome. You get to open your presents, and then like most Australians, just like hurtle towards the beach and just like dive in the water. And you're like, yeah, it's summer, boy.
Can I be honest, though? Like, I have never experienced a Christmas at the beach. I've never been to the beach on a Christmas day in my life, no.
Brenton, in all your years... In all your years.
I've been in a pool, been in the lake, not been to the beach. So
I thought you said for a second you've been to Nepal, and I'm like, wow, what a contrast. I've been praying with the Dalai Lama, but I won't go near some sand.
Nah, fuck that. But it is Christmas. There's no snow, but there's plenty of sun, and you know we're sitting here with nothing fucking better to do. So we thought we'd record an episode.
Yeah, we're just sitting here Christmas week.
And Nathan, to help us pass the fucking time, we decided that we would do not one film but two films today because we don't have anyone to see. Like we've
got no family of our own. Yeah, I think Brenton and our listeners, they've been just like more double bills. You're doing double bills for Star Wars. Fuck it, do double bills for Christmas. Brenton, this might need to be the last one for a while.
Maybe, but like I like to think of it, it's like training for a marathon. You know what I mean? It's like now that we're like we're fit. We know what we're doing now. You know what I mean? When it comes to two films at a time. We were doing like the Fox and the Hound and fucking Bambi. We got through the Bambi bit and we were like, oh fuck.
Like, oh geez, we got another bloody film. Like
now it's just like bam, bam, biggity boo. You know what I mean?
Was that Brenton trying to be a rapper for like 5 seconds?
No, that was Brenton being a rapper for 5 seconds.
Oh,
Thank
well
you very
done.
much.
You sounded like that meme where he's like blam blam bobbity bop. I'm not a rapper. That was like you, dude.
Yeah. Hey man. My new EP is releasing in February. Get amongst it.
I'm so excited.
What would you say my rapper name is?
What about Brenton Abbey? Like Downton Abbey, but Brenton Abbey.
Hey audience, since Nathan's giving me shitty suggestions, maybe tweet at us and tell us what you think.
I could not sound more white, could I?
Fuck, like you could not sound more white at all, Nathan.
No.
You're basically the whitest guy I know, and even you just surprised me with what came out of your mouth just then.
Well, speaking of white people, Brenton, we should talk about some films with some of them in it.
Oh yeah, we should. What better way to spend Christmas than talking about films with fucking white people? All right, that's tradition. All right,
because we're spending it with the McAllisters.
Let's not talk about the famous historical figure that was born, on this day and why we celebrate this day, who was not white. Let's talk about films with white people in them. So, what better films to talk about than a film starring both films starring How do you say this kid's fucking name? Macaulay Culkin is this kid's name.
Say it with a real Aussie accent and it'll be really easy to do.
Macaulay Culkin. Macaulay Culkin, eh? Yeah, mate. I'm talking about a film with 2 films with Macaulay Culkin. No, it's not fucking Richie Rich, though I wish it was. It's fucking Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2, eh?
Wait. What a good time. Brenton, please step into my office and I want to pitch you both these movies. Sit down. We're going on a Christmas road trip, fam. So be ready.
Nathan, I need you to pitch me 2 films right now. I need Christmas films, and I need them now, and I need them starring a child actor. Go. What do you got for me, buddy? Go.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Oh, you really got me on the spot here. Like, oh gosh.
Go, Nathan. Go.
I was so ready to talk about It's a Wonderful Life again, but oh no. Look. Okay. Children and Christmas. How can we put children and Christmas together? They're 2 such separate things. You know, you never see children at Christmas. Okay. What about this, Brenton? What about... Okay, I've got an idea for a title for a movie, right? It's called Home Alone. And what if we made the premise of the film the title, where a child is home alone?
It's too obvious. Please continue, though.
Okay. I guess Home Alone is obvious as a title, so we should do something more than just what if his parents left a kid. Okay, what if we set it a Christmas, Brenton? So like, you know, to counteract the fear and the terror of a young child having a whole house to himself, we balance it out with the joy of Christmas.
Ooh. I'm enjoying this, but there's not enough conflict yet. You know what I mean?
Okay, fine. Fuck it. What if we have a kid home alone at Christmas, but let's say there are some house robbers going around the neighborhood and they want to rob his house. And so rather than freak out like any other normal child, we make this kid a psychopath who like has had military grade training on how to defend a territory. And so he turns the house into a haunted house, but it's Christmas, but it's full of booby traps.
Nathan, I don't say it, I don't say it enough. That's the best fucking idea for a movie I've heard in a long time. But Nathan, I asked for you for 2 of them. So if there's a sequel to this, what do we do? Do we just do the same exact thing, exactly the same way again?
I mean, we could, and we maybe will. But what if, Brenton? Okay, we don't want the robbers to come back to the same house, because that'd be too derivative. I think we're allowed to keep the same robbers.
Right, okay.
Let's have the kid want a holiday in New York. So rather than the parents forget about the kid, they lose the kid, and he has forced to go on a holiday during Christmas to New York.
Oh shit, man, that makes no logical sense, but I love it. I love it.
Fantastic, Brenton. I want you to throw logic out the window for these movies because they're all about kids having fun during Christmas, Brenton. And even though you're not a child, I'm sure you can harken back to those days.
What rating in terms of mature content are we going for? Because it sounds like these films could be very violent.
Oh, yes.
And it sounds like, are we going to go the full adult route or are we going to appeal to the kiddies?
Look, naturally, I want to do the adult route, Brenton. I think it'd be quite good, but I can see there you're wanting box office, some Christmas box office money. So let's make it G-rated to the point where the violence is not haunting, but slapstick. If Charlie Chaplin can get away with it, we sure as hell can, Brenton.
Oh, yeah. All right, well, hey, man, this sounds like it's going to make all the monies, you know what I mean?
Yes. And you know what? Even though it's the 90s, I want to get Harry Potter director Chris Columbus and Harry Potter composer John Williams on board, Brenton.
Wait. The director of Rent, the movie adaptation of the musical, Chris Columbus?
Yes. Even though I myself have not seen Rent or heard or know what it's about, I want that director to do this movie.
Holy shit, he's the only man who can do it. Nathan.
I know, because, Brenton, when you're in a home, you have to pay rent. So we gotta get the rent guy.
Nathan, you are truly gonna make my Christmas the best it could possibly be. This film is gonna make me enough money that I can finally buy those 100 ponies my daughter keeps asking me for, berating me for, you know?
With all this box office, you can buy maybe 3 Lego sets.
Oh, Nathan, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to prove my fatherly affection to my kids who I have abandoned. Nathan, thank you so much. Get the fuck out of my office and get Chris Columbus in here right away.
Oh, Brenton, I'm so happy. So because we've done so many double bills, we thought we might toss it up a little bit. Like a salad, Brenton. We're tossing this episode like a bloody salad. And let's talk about non-spoilers for both these movies. I want you to rip off 2 Band-Aids this week, Brenton. Rip them both off and just tell tell me what your thoughts are on Home Alone 1 and 2.
Home Alone 1 and 2. Nathan, this is our Christmas episode, so you expect like a film that's going to give you jolly goodness, you know, that's going to give you that taste of Turkish delight and eggnog. It's going to fucking you're going to put your spoon into the Christmas pudding and it's going to fucking ooze away, and then you're going to put that shit into your mouth, and you're going to spend the next 12 months having to work out to fucking get rid of that fatty shit out of your heart. Nathan.
And do it all over again.
Nathan, that's what I'm looking for in a Christmas film. Home Alone isn't that.
What is it instead, Brenton?
But it's still a good time, nevertheless. I think that these films are both good. I think the first film is obviously, you know, it's renowned for what it is. And, you know, it's pretty basic in terms of what it's going for. But what it sets out to do, it achieves with flying colours. You know, the fact that Joe Pesci gave this performance that he gives in this film the same year that he did his Oscar-winning performance in Goodfellas says a lot. You know what I mean?
Jeez, what a year he had.
Nathan, my point is, though, is that everyone that's kind of signed on to do this, not just in terms of the cast, I mean, like the director, I mean, the team, crew, everyone, you know, you can see that they're all just having a good time, that they're having a good, jolly time and having some fun, which I appreciate, and I can get amongst. So this film has got a fun vibe to it. In saying that, again, what it's kind of missing for me is that Christmas spark, you know what I mean? That Christmas goodie spark.
Wait, what? Do you not think this is not Christmassy enough?
I don't think it's Christmas. It just doesn't give me that oomph, you know what I mean? It's not...
What?
It's nowhere near, you know, such classic... For me, okay, let me elaborate.
It's not Christmassy enough.
I know many people that talk about this film and they say they watch it every year at Christmas, and it's one of those films that they pop on. It's like their Love Actually. It's like their fucking, you know, it's their it's their Die It's a Wonderful Life. It's their Christmas Story. You know what I mean? It's yeah, exactly. But for me personally, I don't walk out of this and go, I'm not going to watch this every year for Christmas. You know what I mean? I have no intention to keep watching this on an annual basis for Christmas time. Will I pop it in if it's on? Will I watch it? Yeah. Will I enjoy it? Yeah, I will. But it's not a Christmas film to me.
So what makes it not a Christmas film?
It's just a fun, family, silly movie about a boy taking on some burglars and harming them in various ways.
So Home Alone 1 is not a Christmas movie?
Or 2.
Whoa, okay, no. All right. Listeners, I want to disclose something. As Brenton is saying this, he is lying on the floor with like a discarded pill like a canister next to him. So, you know,
Nathan, I'm not saying they're not Christmas movies, like in terms of what they're going for, and that they're attempting to have a kind of familial theme to them, you know, and there's the characters go through certain conflicts in this film that kind of hopefully bring them together, you know, and we talk about family, we talk about all these lovely things, you know, that Christmas is...
He says with the most venom in his mouth as he says it.
But no, I understand that. I'm just saying for me personally, there's other films that I would watch tenfold over this around Christmas time. One of those being the film that we did last year at our Christmas segment, It's a Wonderful Life, which went from being a film that I'd never seen before into one of my favorite films of all time. And not only that, a film that I will be watching, that I have watched around this time this year for Christmas with the family. And man, the end of that movie just makes me tear up, and it makes me want to fucking buy everyone presents and bring those people in my life around me and tell them how much they
Brenton's
mean
just like
to me,
hurling
you know
like Christmas boxes on the streets and just knocking people over. Like, take it all.
It's not like this film isn't the masterpiece The Grinch, you know what I mean? Ron Howard's The Grinch.
Oh
How
my
the Grinch
goodness.
Stole Christmas.
Brenton.
It's not
Brenton,
that.
you're throwing a lot of rocks this episode.
It's not the Polar Express, but Nathan, but the point I'm making is it's not those films that I have that yearning to watch, that need to watch, but it's still a good time. And I had a fun time watching these movies. Will I watch them ever again? I feel no intention to, but if they're on, I'll watch it and have a fun time. Nathan, what do you think about these movies?
Oh my goodness. Listeners, there's much controversy. There's a lot to unpack in Brenton's statements. You know, I feel like he's like a politician who's just like dropped all the bombs, and like his aides are like rushing about going backstage. Oh gosh, like how do we clean this up? Like it's just like, we're gonna raise taxes and we're gonna spend all the money on a big boat for me. And all the listeners are like, oh no. Look, Brenton, I can see where you're coming from, but I disagree with a lot of it. Frankly, I think I think these are these are almost too Christmassy, these movies. I think for the first movie especially, the premise would have worked like as well if it wasn't Christmas. But I think it's a better movie because it is Christmas, because it tries to inflict those Christmas values. You know, with a kid who's excluded by his family, this kid who is so bullied by his family, and like Christmas, the one time a year where you're supposed to get along with family, even if you hate them to death, he's just alone. And the only solace he has is like picking on these two poor Saturday morning cartoon robbers that try and like pillage his house. And like the arcs he goes on in this movie of like, you know, befriending enemies, you know, strangers he thinks would have been bad, and getting around charity and getting around loving members of family even if you don't like him. This all feels as Christmassy as Christmas gets.
Nathan, I agree that this is a Christmas film. I'm not saying that it's not.
You're just saying it's just not the best Christmas film you've ever seen, right?
Totally. I can see that there's all those themes that are in there, and that there's a reason that it's set at Christmas to hopefully bring that family together, and you know, hopefully find some familial ties between, what's the fuck's the kid's name? Kevin, the character?
Kevin, yeah.
Kevin and his family. But I'm just saying that I have no intention to really watch this again. I'm just saying that all I got out of it, personally, that I wasn't necessarily moved by the film and with those themes. I cried!
I cried during moments, Brenton.
Jeez, yeah, see, I just didn't.
Brenton like shuffles back as I say that, like, wow, look at this one. Like,
I'm not saying I don't like this movie. I think it executes everything really well. I think the performances are great.
So you like Kevin? You really like Kevin McAllister? You think Macaulay Culkin nails it?
I mean, I guess he's a likable presence. He's a kid. He has that kind of essence of that childhood spark that kind of ignites something. I think that when kids would watch this movie, that you'd want to be Kevin. You know what I mean? So in that sense, yeah, I think he nails it. Me watching him now, I just think he's a bit of a fucking psychopath. Like, I'm just like, shit, get this kid to a psychologist, and if that doesn't help, put him away. You know what I mean? Like, because he's a menace.
He is a
like,
menace.
After watching like one of the films that came out this year was Joker, right?
Yeah,
Joker, which we honed in on Arthur Fleck. I feel like in a few years you could make a film about Kevin McAllister.
Oh my goodness!
And about where his path takes him. You know what I mean? And like,
it turns out Joker's actually a sequel to Home Alone.
Yeah. For sure,
you know?
It would make sense.
Like he ends up being a clown because he's kind of funny with all his pranks, and then suddenly he just turns really dark, and like turns out like his dad wasn't really his dad, and like and the mum just goes completely insane for no reason. Or yeah, the mum would go insane after what happens in these two movies. I think it would work completely.
Holy shit, yeah, my God.
We've done it,
we'll get into that in spoilers because I have a lot to say about that character. But
I mean, I think one of the great strengths and weaknesses of these movies is the violence and the slapstick. Because there's moments where it works really well, and there were a lot of moments in both these movies where I'm like, this is way too slapsticky, especially the second.
Yeah.
Like the first one is kind of cute, and you're going, holy fuck, this kid is trying to murder these criminals who are trying to break into his house. But the second one, it's gone from him like trying to murder them to him being like Satan and thinking of like, how can I make hell on earth right now?
I do agree with that, yeah.
Like, it's funny because like I thought it was such a strong point in the first movie because it's kind of funny watching these burglars getting beat up. A little bit still slapsticky. But the second time, I'm like, geez, I was just thinking, like, I'm just so sorry for these criminals, these poor criminals that, like, you know, possibly murdered by this child.
It's an interesting thing that it kind of glosses over the violent aspects of it. And I think it, like you said, I think it definitely works more so in the first film. But in the second film, it's just a bit rehashed to some degree, but then on top of that, obviously they're trying to like go over and above the first film, and so like in that attempt, it's like to go over the violence in the first film is kind of one, it's like holy shit, like that's pretty violent, and then to counter that, it's like they've gone, well, let's just make it stupid fun, which is probably the right choice, but if you make that stupid fun, it kind of looks stupid. Is what I think you're trying to say. Yeah,
and it is very stupid. Like how did you think about the pacing of both these movies? Because I felt that sometimes they did get a little bit long.
Yeah, I agree. I think the first film feels long. And the second film, obviously, more so probably, to be honest.
Yeah, the second one felt very, especially halfway through, I was like, geez, there's still stuff to go.
Well, a lot of the first film, my issue with the first film as well is that, like, I remember in the beginning of it, I just wanted to get to the action, so to speak. I wanted to get to where he was home alone, alone, and the burglars were trying to break in, and he was laying all of his traps.
But would a movie have worked if it was entirely just Home Alone?
Totally. Like, I understand why it's not. Obviously, you need the build-up, you need the tension of the build-up, but at the same time, Nathan, I never felt any fear for this child or his safety. You know what I mean?
No, that's a good point. There is no tension in these movies. There are no stakes. And Kevin McAllister, like, he is like genius. Like the world works for him too well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think, to be honest, that's why I kind of wanted to get into the action. I was like, well, you're trying this big build-up, but like, I just know in my heart of hearts that this kid is in no danger, even though like this situation in the real world would be quite dangerous, which we'll get into in spoilers. In terms of differences between the two movies, obviously, I think the first film is probably a better movie. In terms of how it's made, the fact that it's a bit more original, and just the premise itself makes a bit more sense. There's so many logical leaps I have to make in the second film for it to work in my head and to just sit back and kind of enjoy it.
We'll get into that in spoilers, but it is like ludicrous how the child ends up in New York.
But at the same time, it's kind of enjoyable on that front as well. But an enjoyable experience, not in the same way that the first film is, if that makes sense.
What might hook people to the second movie, we should mention in non-spoilers if people haven't watched it yet. The second movie introduces a character played by Tim Curry.
Yes.
What did you think of him in this movie?
I love Tim Curry. I that man can do no wrong in my eyes. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, he can, but for me, I just love the guy. He always does these random projects where I'm just like, why did you do that? And then but at the same time, I'm thinking, I'm glad that you did that. You know what I mean? So thanks, Tim. We appreciate it.
Oh, it's great because in the second movie he plays like this concierge at the Plaza in New York.
Yeah,
and he's the most like British like Saturday morning villain you could imagine. Like, and it's so funny because in the movie he's just doing his job. Like he just sees a child at a hotel and he's just like, oh yeah, maybe something's up. But like the movie paints him to be like this, hello there, my little child, you are ruining my dastardly plan. It's like that. You know, that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's slightly bizarre, isn't it, when you think about it?
Yeah. And his fucking face, it's like a toad. It's like, he just looks so evil in this movie.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing in these movies, I think, as well. There's something worth noting that, how adults interact with Kevin as a child isn't necessarily always believable in a sense. No. You know what I mean?
These whole movies are just the furthest away you can get from believable.
Totally.
You got to really throw realism out the door. Even the way adults interact with each other.
But Nathan, you said you cried at the end of these films, so it still must have enough emotional impact and enough kind of characterization in terms of the characters that you care about enough.
Okay, here's a fun fact. The only reason I cried once in both of these movies is because of the same fucking story arc that happens in both these movies. One with Man with the Shovel and the other with Pigeon Lady. And they're identical characters. They go through the exact same fucking arc.
You cried over Pigeon Lady? Ooh.
I mean, there were genuine tears, but also there were tears of laughter with Pigeon Lady, which we'll fucking get into.
It sounds like for us at the moment that we're on the brink of like a discussion that we want. It sounds like to us at the moment that we're on the brink of a discussion that we want to kind of have in spoilers. So do you have anything to add to our non-spoilers section before we give our little rating and we move on?
Is there anything I want to add? Look, no, I want to point out that their house gave me like OCD vibes because like there's way too much red and green in that first movie. Like, did you notice their wallpapers?
Yeah, totally. I mean, the color palette is very distinct, let's say, in these films, and you feel
their house is fucking bonkers. Like, I was looking at that movie. One, it's all red and green, so I'm wondering if they put it up just for Christmas. But two, did you notice that like they have like frames of flowers in their house and they've got flowers everywhere? Fucking flower patterns left, right, center. It's crazy, Brenton. Who lives like that?
Hey, this family does, I guess. The McAllisters. They love it, man. They can't get enough of that that color palette.
I also want to point out, would this movie work? Do you think you would want to see a horror movie version of these movies? Where like in real life we saw what actually would happen and it'd be like a horror kind of element. Would you get around that?
Yeah, I mean, why not? See a little kid have to try and defend themselves, a helpless small child try and defend themselves against two fully grown men trying to break into your house. I mean, that's a pretty fucking scary scenario.
Yeah. I would have loved it where we were like having like the kid's perspective, and he wasn't as good as Kevin McAllister. Like he was like running for his life, like Halloween kind of stuff.
Oh shit, yeah. That'd be pretty fucking dark though, for a film to go there.
Actually, yeah. Okay, Kevin McAllister versus like Jason from Halloween, who would win?
Oh, Jason. Yeah.
Who would win in that fight? I think it'd be Kevin. I think if it was Kevin's house and it was like Jason from Halloween, I reckon Kevin would win.
What's the dude from Friday the 13th called?
Maybe he's Jason.
No, he's Jason. Yeah, Friday the 13th is Jason. Who I thought you were talking about. Sorry.
Oh, who's the guy from Halloween?
Michael, isn't it? Michael.
Michael. That's right, Michael Myers. Yeah. So Michael Myers, would he win?
No. No, he wouldn't.
Exactly. Kevin McAllister would kill him. Like,
yeah, for sure. If it was against Jason, though, I don't know if Kevin would win. I think he'd be pretty fucked, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. And you know what? I kind of want to see that movie, Brenton. Like, I want to see this like happy Christmas like movie where suddenly this young child is pushed to the limits and he has to like be like getting away from an actual murderer.
Here we go. Crossovers that we need in our lives right now. Kevin versus Jason. Yes, please.
Oh my goodness. It'd be amazing. And it's what they should go with the sequel. Like just completely slap an R rating on it out of nowhere and just like and just have like him like throw buckets of paint on this poor murderer. Just like it'd be great. And like it'd just be incredible. And like the returning cast from Halloween's there, like it'd be great. And they were all just like running for their lives, but here this child rocks up with like a fucking like Bart Simpson like sling thrower and just like gets away with it.
Oh, Nathan, I think it's a great idea. I'm down for it. An R rating for a horror film in which a child is one of the main characters who may get grievously injured or maimed during it, you know?
Yeah. I think it would be so good. I think it'd be...
It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea at all, and something I'd be interested to see. So with all that being said, Nathan, how would you rate Home Alone 1 and 2?
Brenton, you put me in a tough spot. I mean... Thursday night at Christmas, would I want to watch Home Alone 1 and 2? Okay, which one do you think's better, Brenton?
Oh, 1 for sure.
See... For the first half of 2, I was actually getting around 2 more because I thought more was happening. But then the second half, I'm like, oh, geez, they're just doing the same fucking thing as the first movie, but just more extreme. I want to see what you rate it, Brenton. I want to respond rather than lead.
Oh, geez, Nathan, it's kind of sad, I have to say, because I feel like this happens a lot. Of like, I will say my rating first, and then it'll be interesting to see what you rate after me on this one, because I've kind of been changing my rating in my head. At first, I was probably just going to give them both a thumbs up, but the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, do you really need to take the time to watch the second one? Probably not. So I'll give the first one a thumbs up and the second one a thumbs down.
It's very true, because like, I don't know, there was a lot I loved in the second movie, like. I don't know. I love the cinematography of New York. It looks beautiful. Like, it does interesting things. It's funny. The action is bigger, but I don't think it makes it better. If anything, I think it makes it worse because it's so unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think yeah, it feels like they took every idea they had for the second movie and they just threw it all in. Like, you know? So
yeah, totally.
I still had a fun time with it, but would I recommend people sit down and just watch Home Alone 2? Like, without even seeing 1? I don't think I would, even if they have seen 1, like, because it's just so rehashy. I wish it went in even wilder different directions. So yeah, I think for that reason, I'm going to give 1 a thumbs up, and I think I'm going to give 2 a thumbs down.
Wow. We're both in agreement.
Wow, we're not used to this. Oh, no.
Like you said, I was thinking of giving the second one a thumbs up as well, but the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, you know what? That's a bit of a time sink, and it's not one that I think people should really be sinking into. So, yeah, I'll stick with what I said. I think the first one's a better film.
Yeah, I think the first one, there's a lot to get out of it.
If you end up watching the second one, I still think you're going to have a fun time. Like, you're just going to have some mindless fun for a few hours.
But also, I think what makes it bad is that I think it undermines a lot of the character arcs in the first movie, because no one's learned anything since the first movie. Everything's exactly the same.
No. And if anything, Kevin's getting more and more fucking like mentally...
He's getting more unhinged. This kid's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
So, which we'll get about too in the first movie's spoilers.
Spoiling this movie, spoiling while I'm home alone, and sometimes when I'm home alone too.
Brenton, I'm gonna ask you a question. So, I want you to imagine that it's Christmas Eve, Brenton. You know, you're bloody getting ready to pack up your bags with your family. How would you feel, Brenton, if, like, a police officer rocked up to your house and warned you about house robberies, you know, happening in your neighborhood in person? How would you feel about that?
I'd question it.
Yeah, you probably would, wouldn't you? You know, like, even if you lived in the most fucking, like, neighborhood of neighborhoods, to have a police officer rock up to your front door... Do you think you'd be raising some questions?
For sure. I think this raises the biggest question of all. Well, it's not even a question. The biggest statement I have to make about these films is that Kevin's parents are fucking dickheads. They fucking shouldn't be parents, let alone to one child, then to the many fucking children, like, all those fucking kids they have. Like, fuck off. You're actually creating blights on our society.
Oh, yeah. Can we talk about how many fucking kids this family has? Because it is, like, 2 couples. But, like, Jesus, they're like, everywhere. It's crazy. It's... And, like, also, none of them look related. Like, sure, like, one family's redhead and the other one doesn't, but, like, it's a whole mixed bag of kids, isn't it?
Do you think Kevin's adopted?
I don't know. I mean, his brother's in this, like, his real-life brother.
Well, do you reckon, like...
Maybe, because he definitely seems like definitely cut from a different cloth, doesn't he?
He does. He's either adopted or he's actually a psychopath.
He probably is.
This film probably leads into we need to talk about Kevin, you know what I mean? It's like, it's...
Oh my god, that'd be amazing. Like, fucking... Oh my god, yeah! Like, you see Kevin McAllister practicing archery just, like, near the Christmas tree. You're like, oh, no.
Totally. And, like, this mother that's just desperately trying to connect with, like, the son, like, real, like, obviously, like, has other things on her mind, but then, like, is trying to always connect to the son and then, like, fails miserably and then fucking, like, is, like, the son becomes a scourge on, like, society and then, like, it's all her fucking fault. Yeah, I mean, like, sure, why not? But, like, in that being said as well, like, the fact that, like, this whole film happens because they're in, like, another fucking state... You know what I mean? Like,
oh my goodness.
They've traveled somewhere for a holiday and, like, he got left behind.
You mean when they go to Paris and, like, and...
Hey, totally. Like, I think the worst shot in this film is the realization shot when the mum realizes that, like, she's left Kevin back home.
Yeah, halfway through a fucking flight. It's like, also, what a dick move on the parents to, like, leave all of your kids in economy and you get business class. It's like, you know what I mean? I was just sitting there going like, wow. It's like, oh, and it's not, and you know why it's a dick move? It's not because the kids aren't there with them. It's that you have a family of like, what, like 10 fucking children with no adult supervision in economy. It's like, could you imagine how much they're going to be pissing off everyone else on that flight?
Can you imagine any complaints that are going to be had? From those guests that are like trying to like travel as well. Like, yeah,
the other passengers
fucking flight.
Yeah,
I would not want to be on that flight. You know what I mean?
No, it's the worst. Like I can't believe that they did that. It's
but
like,
as a parent, would you do that? Like to your child, like in the sense of like you want to protect your children, like they are like the most important thing. Like all I hear about parenthood is that like you have like the kid and then like everything changes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your life now revolves around this other being that you have to protect and nurture and love and hopefully help them grow and
hopefully get on fucking flights.
Yeah, God. And like these parents just want to be fucking rid of them.
Oh my God. It's like it's bizarre that even during the flight they don't go and visit their kids once. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Maybe they should have made the decision not to have like more kids after they had the first one and realized what they were in for. They maybe have gone like, maybe we're not built for this, but they were just like, fuck it, man. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. You know what's weird? Kevin isn't even the youngest. He's not like the last of the batch. And like, like you think, oh, okay, maybe he's the last kid. Maybe maybe he was daddy's little accident, and maybe like he wasn't meant to be there. And maybe they're like, fuck, now we really have some weight to deal with. But he's like the politest of all of them, and the only reason he lashes out is because the other kids are being dicks.
Yeah, and he cops it as well. This kid.
Oh, I feel so sorry for him. Like, oh God, it's like he has to be the runt of like the family's just so mean to him. The whole fucking movie. It's just like I don't understand why. And you think after that first movie they'd be nice to him the second, but they're not. They're just still as equally.
All
dickish.
I can say is that thank God we don't see this kid through his teenage angst years, because holy fuck, this kid's gonna have issues. Like this kid is gonna have serious fucking issues.
It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible what this kid's gone through. It's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. But he seems quite content. Like for a lot of the first movie, he's just so happy he's home alone. Like, yeah.
Which is
he's just
sad.
Bloody running about.
Nathan, if you were in this scenario as a young child, would you be excited that you'd been left fucking home alone, like when your parents had gone on an international holiday with your siblings? Or your sibling, I should say.
I remember it happened once. It didn't happen when mum and dad went overseas, or they even left me home alone. It was more that like it was like mum mentioned to me during a dinner once that like her and dad are going to be working just for the morning and they'll be back in the afternoon on like a weekend or something like that. And I think my sister was at a friend's house or something like that, but I just forgot. So like, I remember waking up one morning and having the whole house to myself and being like mortified and being like, oh no. I'm like, fuck. And I'm like, where do they all go? And I had no one to make me breakfast. And I'm like, oh geez. And I looked at the food and there were easily leftovers there, but I was so fucking incompetent. I was just like, I don't know what to do. And there would have been like frozen, like spag bowl just being, that could be easily microwave. But I'm just looking at it going, I can't feed myself. I'm going to die. You know what I mean?
What a fatalistic attitude young Nathan had. Jeez, like, but this kid revels in it.
I was a fucking
This kid
failure.
revels in it. He's like, well, fuck that. I'm gonna like make myself fucking like the most unhealthy thing I can have for a meal and sit here and chow down.
But to be fair with him, like, this kid can be an adult better than I can. Like, he knows how to do the laundry and he knows how to like clean everything up. Like,
Smart kid, yeah.
oh, he's great. He's so good. Like, I love it. But again, like, the fact that he was left alone is just so ludicrous. Like, the film lost me the second you saw the parents and the family get to the airport in like 45 minutes. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
And on an international flight as well.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah. That's a long flight.
It's just
you know?
like,
you got to give it its time.
Can this family not fucking count? I swear to God. It's like, I do love it though. I do love it when Kevin's left home alone. And then one of the first thing he does is that he goes through his brother's porn.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, this is a family film. He's like flicking through like a Playboy magazine. I'm like, okay.
Interesting take, film.
Yeah. And he gets a fucking gun. I'm like, geez, what is Biff? I want to say the name of the brother is.
Oh yeah, it's something like that. Starts with a B.
And he looks like such a Biff, doesn't he? Like, oh, he's like the younger version of that bully from Back to the Future.
Who calls the kid Biff, by the way? Like, like 9 out of 10 times a Biff is going to be a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like,
it's exactly, yeah. And he is a little shit. Like, oh, I hate fucking Biff. We'll talk about him in the second movie in a second. One thing I did love, Brenton, I reckon this movie had a damn good choir.
Yeah. I thought the choir was top notch. I thought they were extremely professional. Their harmonies were wonderful, and I'm glad that they took up some.
They were on
I'm
point.
glad that they took up some screen time. But it brings us on to the next point of a certain character that is young Kevin's neighbor.
Oh yes, who we haven't mentioned.
Yeah, the neighbor in this film, who is there to provide, I guess, the heart, like you said, Nathan, like this kind of subplot about this grandfather trying to connect with his granddaughter, I believe.
It is kind of weird though. Like, that this is in the movie. Like, I think it could have worked still without it. You know what I mean?
Totally, but, you know, it has to be... It really has to be there because, honestly, we have to get some familial vibes where, like a adult actually gives a shit about, like, younger members of their family because Kevin's parents don't give a fuck about him. So we have to...
It's like, yeah. And it's, you know what's so funny? Because when you see the mum, here's what I love. Here's what the movie teaches us. When the mother decides to start giving a fuck about Kevin, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to go to hell and high water, and I'm going to do all I can to get back to Kevin. And you see her, like, she goes to all these different airports. She doesn't sleep. She has to, like, truck with some fucking hockey team or whoever they are.
Yeah.
Or who are they?
That's right.
Like,
they're like a traveling... Yeah. I don't even know what they are. They're traveling somethings or other. And
there's some weird thing. I love that she goes through all of this, and then as a gag, as soon as she arrives, the movie tends to show that the rest of the family arrived the same time as her, and they've just had, like, one flight.
It's fucking great. It's fucking great. What a...
Like, but what is that teaching
What a
us?
troll. It's had, like, you know, it's such a troll on the audience. It's bloody great. And you can just see, like, you just see her die on the inside. You know what I mean? Die just that little bit on the inside.
She's just like, oh, jeez. It's like, yeah.
But can you imagine, okay, let's imagine an alternate ending to this film where she arrives home, she walks into the house, everything's been stolen, and Kevin's fucking decapitated on the floor. like seriously.
Oh my God.
Like, you know,
that's the kind of thing.
You know what I mean? Like, holy shit.
But that would have been great. Imagine if, like, the fight's going well for Kevin and he's winning, and then maybe the movie hard cuts to the mum and we don't see how the fight ends. We think Kevin has the upper hand. And, like, she walks into the house and we presume that he's won, and it's just, like, him hung by a rope.
Holy fuck. But, like, honestly, like, as a parent, what the fuck are you expecting to see when you come home in that situation? Like, thank God, obviously, that the kid's alive, but, like, he very well could not have been. And I feel like there was a way of organizing someone to check in on Kevin or find someone to look after Kevin.
Oh, it's so stupid how, like, all the phone lines get cut down and that kind of shit. You know what I mean? It's like everything needs to happen for this scenario to happen. Like, everything. And also, he makes a phone call at the end of the movie. The phones are back online. Yeah. And yet there's not someone on the hour continually to keep ringing to see if anyone's going to be there.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty stupid. If we're being honest. Like,
oh, it's so moronic. Yeah. Actually, you know what I hate most in this movie? I hate the fucking statue that gets knocked over like 12 times. This got on my nerves, Brenton. I don't know why, but I'm like, how does everyone keep hitting this fucking thing? Like,
Nathan, can we talk about the moment you cried in this film?
Okay, so yeah, we diverged from the bloody guy because, like, you know, okay, before we get into that, I want to talk about this guy though, because Kevin is so rude to him. Like, because he does nothing. He looks like a normal old man. He doesn't even look that fucking creepy. I think Pigeon Chick looks more creepy than him. And, like, he's just walking about, just clearing up some snow. And then he bumps into Kevin, and Kevin screams at him. You know what I mean? Like, imagine if you're an old man and a child just happens to scream at you. Like, how hurt would your feelings be?
I'd be kind of concerned at the same time, though, if I was that age. I'd just be like, wow, this kid's got serious issues. Maybe, like, you know.
Yeah, maybe it's the kid, not me. It's like,
Totally.
yeah. And to be honest with you, I didn't really need the heart-to-heart in the choir because I'm like, this conversation is going on a little bit too long. And I'm like, I want to get to, like, the robbers breaking into the house. But it did come full circle when he finally looks out the window and John Williams. You know what it fucking is? It's not even the story. It's John Williams, Brenton, because he saves his best moment in the bloody score for this like reunion.
He does. That fucker. You know, that smart man.
Do you think it is John Williams? Because I cried at the end of Philosopher's Stone because the score is pretty much identical. But now I think about it, maybe it's not a crying moment. Maybe it's just John Williams, Brenton. Maybe he's just pulling my heartstrings too much.
I'm not going home. Not really.
Oh my goodness. It's like it happens every fucking movie. It's like the same as end of like Chamber of Secrets.
Oh yeah, where they fucking applaud Hagrid.
It's like that same fucking music. It's just John Williams repeating himself.
It's a great moment. It's not Hogwarts without you, Hagrid.
But that's the thing as well, because it also starts off as a slow clap. It like starts off as like a nice slow clap, and then it kind of builds into this huge crescendo. Like, because Harry Potter are as Christmassy as these movies. Like Christmas is in both those two movies. It's like, oh, it made me so fucking grateful when in Prisoner of Azkaban, it no longer does the applause finish. It goes from like a weird freeze frame of Harry on the broom. I'm like, finally, like we have a different ending. Oh, no. Okay, Goblet of Fire. He comes back with Cedric's dead body, and then they all burst into applause. But the same way and music from Chamber of Secrets.
I tell you what's funny.
And over the applause, you hear the father going, "My boy," and everyone's still fucking applauding.
My son.
And everyone's like just cheering and clapping, like.
No.
And the camera like zooms in on Cedric's dead face as it does, like, ah!
Hello, father.
Oh, this ending could work for every Potter movie. Like, it would be so good.
Dude,
just be this running gag.
That Chamber of Secrets ending must be a meme. Like, it absolutely must be a meme.
Like, I don't know, like when you get back from a night out at like 2 a.m. and your mates are still alive, you're just like, and that fucking clip plays, you know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
oh, okay. Do you watch the end of Home Alone? They just did that same ending where like the whole family walks in applauding.
Yeah, the mother has a moment with Kevin, and then Kevin's all like, "It's not Hogwarts without you, Mum." And then she starts clapping.
She's just like, "What the fuck is
And then his
Hogwarts?"
brother starts fucking clapping, and then they all just start slowly clapping, and then the police bring the burglars back, and they start clapping as well.
Oh my goodness!
New. It's not Hogwarts without you, Mum.
Or maybe like Hagrid's there as well. He's just sitting by the fireplace. Is like,
This is not Hogwarts without you, Mum. She starts clapping. Hug cuts to fucking Albus Dumbledore, who like just like gets off his like withery ass and just starts applauding as well.
He's holding like one of the magazines from like Slughorn's house that he was reading while they were waiting, and just like,
dude, that Chamber of Secrets ending must be a meme. Like, it must be like. And if it's not, I'm going to start it, like, for sure. I'm just gonna like get random clips from movies and just like add that into like where like
it works so fucking well. Like, honestly, I wish it happened to the end of every movie we've done this podcast. Like end of Babe, the farm animals start clapping, like, you know. Dude,
it's perfect. Nathan, getting back to the film.
Yes, back Home Alone.
We're going to talk about our burglar friends later on in this episode. We're going to talk about them.
So the actual Home Alone part, I thought you and I before the episode were like, this is its whole other segment. Like, we got to save it. So
what I will say in this spoiler section is that they're great. Like, they are great.
Oh.
Like, they've got such great chemistry. The everything they do in the film is wonderful, and you want them to be back on the screen. You know what I mean?
And it's so weird seeing Joe Pesci be in this like family friendly role. You know, like
it's kind of like though that he's not acting it like a family friendly role. You know what I mean? Like. He's still Joe Pesci in this film. Like,
he is still like grumpy Joe Pesci,
and he's like going for it.
And like, I don't know, I thought for a moment they were a little bit too dumb. Like, would have liked to be a little bit more smart, but but also at the same time, I kind of like in the first movie. I think it works really well.
I agree. So. Now that you've brought up an interesting point, so what do we think of the second film in terms of spoilers? Nathan, can we start off by saying of the certain cameo that's in this film?
Oh, do you want to get the big man out of the way?
Yeah. We need to just start big and go from there.
Because people know this movie not just because of him, but because of like, it's one of his more notable cameos that he's done in movies. Because he's done a handful of them.
Yeah.
What do you think of Trump?
Mate,
in this movie,
all I can think about in that scene now is because there's this meme that's gone around. Have you seen the meme of that scene?
I don't think I've seen the meme
it replaces
of it, but
what he says.
There's so many things you could do with this scene of Trump patting this small child in a hotel.
Because he goes up to him and goes, "Oh, I'm lost. Can I get help?" I can't remember what the line is. And Trump just points him.
Where's the elevator? And he's
he points him in the right direction. And in this meme, he goes up to him, and then they've like dubbed the sound over with like that fucking recording that came out during the election campaign.
Grab him by the pussy.
Yeah, he just.
Oh my god! Jeez.
Oh man,
sir,
you know who showed that to me? Okay, funny story. Do you know who showed me that meme? Can I just share who showed me that meme?
Yeah, you can show me the meme, man.
My grandmother showed me that meme.
What?
Yeah, she was like, Brenton, this is hilarious. Look at this. And I was like, okay, Nan. I sat down and watched it, and I was like, why the fuck did you show me that? And then she was like cackling.
I also love that your grandma gets around memes. Like, what an up-to-date woman. What a hip youngster.
I know. She sends me like, it's really funny actually. It's really cute. On like Facebook Messenger, she sends me like a bunch of like GIFs and stickers and shit all the time.
Oh, bless.
It's great.
Is it too much or is it like a good amount?
No, it's a good amount. Sometimes she sends a lot of stickers. Like she likes to send a lot, but she knows she's doing it at the same time. Like,
does she do that feature where you can put a sticker on top of a message so you almost can't read it?
No, she hasn't done that one yet.
Oh,
No.
Good. Okay, that's good. Because I know you can do that in iMessage. On Facebook you can't, but on iMessage I know it's a thing. And I'm like, I literally can't see what you said. Like,
Yeah, you think you're funny, but fuck, what is it you're trying to say to me?
you know what? I do love that Trump is in the movie. You know what I mean? It's like, I didn't hate that he was in the movie. He brought a little smile to my face. I'm like, oh, Trump, look at you and your bloody
For
hotel.
sure.
It's like,
He brought
and do you know why he's in the movie? Did you read up that fact?
I did not. Why is he in the film?
The reason Trump is in this movie, and it's great, and it's such a Trump reason as well. It's because he owned the plaza at the time. I don't know if he still does, but the Trump Corporation owned the plaza. So for a movie to film in one of his hotels, there's a clause that they're allowed to film in it, but he has to have a cameo in the movie. So when they wanted to use the plaza, because it's arguably one of the best hotels in New York, he's like, you can use it, but I have to be in it. And so they're like, fine, we'll write you in. And it's like...
And that's what they came up with? Like...
I know. But the best thing about it is that this is what I like to think. So they wrote him this line, but I like to think that Trump himself gave himself this confused expression of this boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Bless him. I like to think that he's just like alone in the plaza, just being like, oh, like his family also got like lost in Florida or something, and he's just by himself, like...
Trump alone.
Yeah. Oh, I would pay all amounts of money to see Trump alone. Just like he's in the White House and like everyone's left for Christmas and he's got it to himself and he's just bored and he's just like trying to set all these traps for like all this like the staff.
Yeah, you see him like having that like huge like ice cream dish that from the first film, like watching TV.
And maybe instead of like criminals, maybe it's like some world leader who's meant to visit him around the time of Christmas to like sign some treaty or something like that. And maybe it's like Angela Merkel trying to like find Trump in the White House, but all these like booby traps are beating her up.
Oh my god. Nathan, you're really onto something. Like I love on the show that you'll just come up with the most interesting ideas for like films and whatnot, and I just keep saying, mate, write it down. Let's make it happen. I think it
could work. I can really see Trump doing this. Like he needs some like big PR push or something like that. So it's just like, fuck it. I'm just gonna like, I'm just gonna like a movie starring me. He'll convince the other world leaders to do it because they'll like, I don't know, organize some backdoor treaty. He'll get like, like the leader of the EU. He'll get fucking like Boris Johnson. He'll get all of them and just proceed to like lay all these traps for them in the White House. Like, and he'll get away with it because he's the president. So they're pressing charges. So he's like, this is my country. Like,
I'm just reenacting Home Alone. Come on, guys, get amongst it. It's Christmas time.
Yeah, and they're like, I guess he's done worse. Like, and they just give him the pass.
Nathan, I really need to go to the bathroom. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. You can go, Brenton. I'll entertain the listeners while you go. Okay, listeners. So you're stuck with me while Brenton pees. Oh no! Now I'm home alone, listeners. Without Brenton, what can I do? He's just like, Brenton goes to the bathroom and then suddenly I look out my window and he's just like fucking crawling outside with like a bloody crowbar. I'm like, oh no. And he's just giggling. Do you listen to, write to us listeners, do you ever listen to podcasts where it's just one person by themselves? Like, that's the thing. Like, how awkward is this for you, listeners? Tweet at us. Tweet at us how fucking weird this is. It's just me. Because I love Bill Burr, for example, but he does this podcast where he's just talking to himself for like an hour, just like his random thoughts. And I don't think it works. I think at the very least, like the best part about podcasts, or the ones that I love as well, is that kind of conversational activity. So if you know any great podcasts where it's just one person, let me know. Because like, I haven't seen it work before. But yeah. Oh, I pray Brenton's coming back soon. I'm running out of shit to say. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, listeners.
He's back.
Oh my God, listeners, Brenton's back, finally. So, Brenton, I kept in all of that, by the way. I'm not editing out anything of this. I was having a good conversation with the listeners. And we deduced, Brenton, that you're integral to this podcast. So, Merry Christmas, buddy.
But anyway, I'm back. Let's talk about Home Alone 2 and that old lady with the bloody pigeons.
So, here's the thing, because the whole first movie is him about like not judging strangers by their first impressions and like, you know, trying to build bridges and that kind of stuff. But he looks at this woman who's just feeding some birds and he freaks the fuck out. It's like,
I'm not sure what he's doing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm never sure what he is doing, and I'm never sure if he's entirely sure of what he's doing either.
Do you ever get sick of his dumb screaming face?
I mean, I just don't know if there's like a human emotion that he really covers. I think he's like a robot, like a psychopathic robot that has come down from outer space and is just here to fuck shit up. You know what I mean?
Oh, that'd be great. Oh, I wish he was an alien. Jeez. But like, but the woman who's a pigeon, she could be an alien. You know what I mean?
Totally. She could be.
It's kind of weird that she doesn't speak though. That like she's just like, is she at the Hunchback of Notre Dame, but instead in like Carnegie Hall? Because it kind of insinuates that she lives in like this like music attic and like the.
I don't know what they're trying to get at with that relationship, or you know,
it's
obviously
such a weird backstory as well. Like she had her heart broken, so she decided to become a fucking pigeon lady. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, must have been a lot of heartbreak, you know what I mean, for that shit to happen.
I reckon she's holding back. I reckon because she's talking to a child, she's not like, there's some fucked up story there. She's just not telling Kevin.
Can you fill us in, Nathan, on what her fucked up backstory is?
Okay, I've been thinking about this a lot, Brenton.
Okay.
And what I think actually happened is that, so this woman is obsessed with pigeons, right?
Right.
And we know that she has gone through heartbreak. So, and we know that she feels bound to sit in silence and feed these pigeons. So what I like to think is that maybe one day she was driving with her husband and maybe they ran over a couple birds that were like trying to cross the road or something like that.
Right.
And so they're bloody like enjoying a nice drive, and then for some reason, because they've run over some pigeons, a whole swarm of them like attack the car as it's driving, and the husband swerves and he's killed in a visceral car crash. And so she feels like in order to live safely, she must now serve the pigeons and feed the pigeons.
I like it. They should have had that flashback scene in the film.
Or like a really violent, like it's like Hitchcock's The Birds.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
But it's with this woman instead.
He like kind of survives the car crash, and then he stumbles out of the car, and the fucking pigeons like eat him, like peck him to death, and like consume him. And she's just watching like in horror, and she like thinks.
And then the shot fades to like her just like thinking to herself in the park, and like she sees the birds, and she quickly throws some food, like going ugh. No. Kevin goes up to her, and she slowly whispers, "Help me." And like the birds just aren't moving. They're just all sitting on her.
They're just like. They're just like staring at her.
And she's like, "Send help." And like Kevin's like slowly backing up. She's like, "Please, you're the first person I've talked to in years.
And then he gives her that like fucking ceramic whatever the fuck he gives her, like, and she's like,
the Christmas ornament.
No, this is not what I needed.
She's like, "Send help." And the pigeons start pecking at her. She's like, "Quick, run."
That moment that he gives her that gift, was that the moment that you were in tears?
See, I'm making fun of it now, but yeah. It fucking broke me. I give a shit now, but I was fucking there, Brenton. And it's so stupid. And it's so fucking stupid.
Nathan.
But it fucking touched me.
Bless your soul. I'm glad it did. I mean, like, we can never say what is going to like move us in films, but sometimes stupid shit does. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, it fucking does. Like, yeah.
Nathan, why does this take place? Why does the climax of this film take place at a fucking toy shop?
I don't know. It's like, Well, it doesn't. I mean, it goes back to like his home, like or his uncle's home. That for some reason, like I know if you've seen a renovated house, but I don't know if it looks like what the movie says it does. Like,
Yep.
Also, Macaulay Culkin should not have been able to climb up that fucking garbage tube. It's like a vertical pipe.
He's got some serious like core strength to do that. Let alone like the fact that he doesn't get like claustrophobic or anything is like a fucking miracle in that thing. You know what I mean? Like,
if he can climb up that pipe, does that mean this kid is Spider-Man?
No, he's not Spider-Man. No.
Like, what if he stays in New York, Brenton? What if he stays in New York? Okay, this kid in... Okay, you want a versus. Okay, this kid in New York. Okay, this kid and his house versus Willem Dafoe Green Goblin.
Well, no, Green Goblin wins for sure. Like, there's absolutely no way that...
I think...
There's no fucking way Kevin comes out on top against Gobby, okay? Like, seriously.
But he's indoors. He hasn't got the Goblin Glider. It's just Willem Dafoe on foot.
Even more so. I think he's more dangerous when he's on... Like, all Willem has to do is pretend to be fucking Pigeon Lady with a shawl around his neck and go, "Pah!" and turn around. Goodness. Scare the shit out of Kevin.
Okay, do you now wish that Willem Dafoe was a Pigeon Lady in those movies?
I think maybe that is her backstory.
It's fucking turns out the Goblin Glider didn't kill Willem Dafoe at all, and he's in hiding, so he just pretends to be a pigeon lady, but he still for some reason keeps on the Goblin mask.
Don't tell Harry.
So Peter Parker is like proposing to MJ in the third movie in the park, and you just see in the distance Willem Dafoe look on with all these pigeons.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
That's so good.
Exactly, beautiful.
Brenton, if we're going to talk about logic in these movies, one thing I've been dying to talk about is how fucking illogical the setup for this second movie is.
It's ridiculous. It's so stupid.
Oh.
Like, I can't even really...
Because I feel like the producers were like, okay, we want him to be in New York, and they worked backwards from that to think of like 5 different reasons of how he got like stuck in New York. You know what I mean?
Totally, by himself. Like, it just makes no sense. It makes no sense.
It makes absolutely no sense. And it's so weird because... I don't know if you were noticing this, but can Kevin now, for some reason, like be able to cast wishes?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. What's more interesting in this film, I think, is that like again, like there's one thing to be home alone and to like take it in your stride as a young child, but
yes,
like what kid? Who is this kid? I don't understand.
You know what? I want to bring back an old segment. I want to bring back an old segment. Can we bring back MCU? Because I want to ask you if you think Kevin McAllister would make a great member of the Avengers.
Absolutely. I feel like he would add more to the team than Mantis for sure.
I think 100%. I would just love to think like him versus like Ultron or like Loki, like the Avengers like lure the bad guy into a house, and there's just Kevin McAllister just like fucking beating up like the villains with like buckets of paint and like flamethrowers and all
absolutely. That. Like he would destroy. You know what I mean? There's no situation where Loki comes out on top in the original Avengers if fucking Kevin's there. You know what I mean? Like Loki tries to enter Stark Tower, you know what I mean? And then he just gets fucked up. You know what I mean? Like,
oh my god. That would be great. Like it's like Iron Man and like Loki having that conversation at the end of Avengers, like on the top of the roof, and they're just like having a little talk, and then like out of nowhere, like a bucket of paint just knocks Loki off the side of the building.
Hey man, I'd pay to see that. I would pay to see that.
I'd pay to see that too. Oh, it'd be amazing. Just like Thanos going, "I am inevitable," and Kevin's just being like, "I am home alone." He just like hurls a spider at Thanos.
Nathan, now that we've spoiled both of these films, I think it's time that we get into our special segments.
And Brenton, we've got some treats this episode because we've got some segments, new segments, Brenton.
Nathan, I have a gift for you, and that is, and I kind of went into this a little bit, but does Kevin ever learn the true meaning of Christmas?
Yeah, I love this as a segment because we could do it for so many movies of Do They Learn the True Meaning of Christmas. In the first one, I want to say yes.
I would say more so in the first one as well. Like, if you want to give it to it, sure. Yeah, like he does. He learns that his family values him, even though they fucking don't, as we learn in the sequel, that they've learned nothing.
No.
Like, so really...
Well, that's the thing. The second movie undermines it.
So, yeah, he learns the true meaning of Christmas, but then his whole fucking lesson is undermined when the fact that he realizes, oh, no, that's how it's meant to be, but my family doesn't give a fuck about me. You know what I mean?
Like, that's the thing. Even if he learns the true meaning of Christmas, he's just left on his own. And it's like, and by the way, it shouldn't... Like, imagine if he never got left home alone. Do you think, like, he still would have learned the true meaning of Christmas? I think the family would have just kept bullying him until he snapped and murdered them all.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen in Home Alone 10, like, for sure.
That's the thing. Oh, because there are sequels to Home Alone 1 and 2.
Home Alone 10, you're going to be like, oh, I feel like when's it going to happen? When is he going to, like they're going to all leave and he's going to, and you're just like, wait, it's just Kevin interacting with his family, and at the end of the film, it's like, he finally just, like, goes nuts, and he just, like, murders the whole family, and then he's finally home alone. And like, the last line of the film is like, now I am finally home alone. And then, like, Albus Dumbledore and then President McGonagall stands up from a bony ass and just... Harry Potter stands back.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we just have a slow pan out and, like, there's just blood all over, like, fucking Kevin's face.
As, like, the camera shows all the dead bodies around
and then
him.
you just hear the sirens in the background. Oh
my goodness. Maybe that is the true meaning of Christmas. And, like, Hedwig's flying around the house as the camera pans out.
Mate. The only thing that he does the only thing you can link it to is Old Lady with the Pigeons, and even then I'm just like, that is a stretch if I've ever seen.
Because he even goes to the children's hospital and doesn't do shit.
That's right. I forgot about
like the whole movie like points it's like, oh, you got to be charitable. Like that old man at the counter is like, you got to be charitable, and he goes to the hospital and he kind of like shrugs and then walks off.
Are like, to some kid, you have to be charitable. Where's all you cough up, kid?
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, and what's the bet as well? Those like Dove ornaments are worth like maybe like 5 cents each. Like they're like plastic things, and he's like, and the kid gives like $20.
Yeah, really, like it's kind of low to chase like a little like 8-year-old or whatever, or 10-year-old or however old this kid is, and just be like, hey mate, Christmas is about being charitable, so cough up. Where's your money? Where's your cash? Shouldn't they be asking him, where the fuck are your parents? And why?
But he still takes the money, and he's just like, he doesn't worry about the kid's welfare. He's like, oh, swoop.
It's all about being charitable. Yeah, fuck you, pal. Like,
I don't think I ever remember as a child buying myself anything at Toys R Us or anything like that. You know what I mean? I was like always with a parent.
Totally.
Yeah.
I remember actually being a time that I wasn't, that like my parents are like, where are your parents? And I was like, right over there. I pointed to them and they waved and they're like, oh, right. And I'm like, so they, you know?
Yeah, they did just like snatch the note out of your young hands.
If some kid came up to me and said, I would like to book a room here, you know, at your establishment for a couple nights, and I will be buying all the room service, I'd be like, where's your parents, mate? Like, you know what I mean? Like there's again, coming back to plot holes, there's like infrastructure put in place that this just would not happen.
No, it just wouldn't happen. And like, you mentioning that reminded me of something we forgot to talk about. What do you think of the movie, the gangster movie? And him mouthing like all those scenes in both movies.
I think it's, again, kind of psychopathic tendencies.
And the fact that all the adults buy it as well, that they're going to get mowed down by a fucking gangster film, you know?
Yeah. It's concerning.
It is a little bit concerning, yeah. Brenton, I want to introduce a new special segment as well.
Hey.
And I think this has great potential for future episodes as well. It's which characters should have died.
Well, first of all, I think it's a great segment, but second of all, we clearly just get the elephant out of the room and just say Kevin should have clearly died fucking multiple times in both films. Like,
Kevin should have died?
Yeah, Kevin should be dead. Like, Kevin, like,
how did
in this
Kevin
situation,
die?
Kevin should be dead. Like, the phones are down, there's no adult access, the adults are coming into your house, they come in, holy fuck, your kid's running at me, shoot the gun, oh shit, I shot him in the head, Kevin's dead. He's in New York by himself. Died.
Yeah, the fact that Joe Pesci's gun stops working, it's like, nah, like Kevin should have been dead.
Kid by himself, New York, raped and murdered, dead.
But the most egregious thing this movie does is that the criminals survive every attack that Kevin gets to them. This is what we've been waiting for the whole episode, Brenton. Let's talk about now the Home Alone shenanigans of the first and second
These guys should be dead. These guys caught fucking bricks to the head. They caught...
Yeah, 4 fucking times! And the brick falls like 4 stories, and the guy gets hit in the head 4 times. It's like, the first brick should have killed him. At the very least knocked him out, but killed him.
For sure.
Killed him. And yet... Oh, okay. So, first movie... There's so many ways the criminal should have died. I thought they should have died when he gets like a bullet in the fucking face and he's looking through the dog hole.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even the simple act of them falling down the stairs onto hard ice outside the house, that alone could kill you. Just like a hard fall, you know? I mean, they're not young and sprightly. Like, a simple crack to the skull will do it.
I just don't understand how these guys get up and walk about. Like, there's so many points. Joe Pesci gets fucked up in this movie. Like, he gets absolutely fucked up. Like, the point where like he's got like the fucking like patch on his head where like his skin's like fucking like charred and shit, and
Oh my
like
God.
I'm just like, holy shit, dude! Like the amount of brain damage.
Is it Joe Pesci that gets hit by the iron at one point?
Isn't it the other guy?
Maybe it's the other guy. Yeah, one of the like an iron falls like a couple stories onto the head of someone and they survive.
Yeah.
Like it's madness. But in saying that, how would this movie have turned out if Kevin does his first little prank and then they're both murdered? Like, what would have happened then in the movie? And the kid is like looking at where the criminals have gone, and you just see two.
I feel like it
corpses.
would have been like that scene from Breaking Bad where they're like by the acid and they're like he starts like dissolving the corpses so that there's like no evidence that they were ever there.
The kid like drags them into the bathtubs, like yeah. But that would have been great if the mother came back and she just sees the two dead corpses, just like, and Kevin's sitting by the stairs like, what have I done? Like,
He's just sitting by the stairs like, hi, mum. She just like shuts the door and like calls the police.
no, she doesn't call the police. She's like, I see you've inherited what I had. It's like,
And she opens the closet and like 8 dead bodies fall out as well.
she's like, it runs in the family, Kevin. It's
Holy
like,
fuck.
it's like, oh no.
Nathan, when should they have died in the second film?
Oh my goodness. There's like so many moments. I think when Joe Pesci is like a seesaw flung into the air and fucking crashes into the top of a car and dents the car and he's like, oh, this hurt a little bit.
I forgot about that, but yes.
It's like, what is like? I remember even in better movies, I have issue with that. I remember like The Dark Knight when like Rachel gets like tossed out of a fucking high rise and Batman like falls down to catch her, and he doesn't like glide or anything like that. He just lands on the car with her,
Totally.
and they both survive.
Yeah. Even in that, I guess you can maybe justify it in that his like suit is like super strong or some shit. But even so, you're just like, holy fuck, man! Like.
Nah, it's just like that Maggie Gyllenhaal should be like a dead corpse, and it's just like
She should,
you know what I
should
mean?
look over in that moment and be like, "You okay?" And she's just like a splatter of like, you know, it's like someone
Oh
tipped
my
a fucking
goodness.
red bucket of paint over onto his side next to him, and he's just like, "Oh shit!" Rachel,
Can you do a good? Can you do a good Christian Bale Batman?
this city just proved that it's full of people ready to believe in God.
Oh, that's great. Even when like Heath Ledger is in that fucking high rise at the end with the dogs, I reckon him versus Kevin McAllister, he still would have won.
Kevin would have won.
Yeah, Kevin. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Heath Ledger's like, why so serious? And then Kevin's like, here's why, and he like fucking throws an iron on Heath Ledger. He's like, oh.
He's like, do I look like a guy with a plan? No, you don't, but I'm a guy with a plan. And then he like fucking
Yeah, and he beats him up. It's just like, it works so well. It's just, the dogs love him because he's a kid, so he's like, he just pets the doggy. Like,
There's so many moments in these films where it's just like,
what about the flammable toilet where like their house almost explodes, and Joe Pesci somehow survives with just a scarred head? You know, like. It's like, what is going on in this movie? Like,
oh, Nathan.
the fact that they don't have any broken bones at the very least, the fact that they like full stories and they're okay.
It is truly horrifying what happens to these guys. But it's funny at the start of the show that like when we're talking about the regular in the non-spoiler section, you were saying you said a lot like these poor burglars. You know what I mean?
I feel sorry for them
But at the same time,
because they're so dumb.
Don't they deserve to like what they get? You know, kind of in this film.
I know, but like, you know what I mean? It's just, even if Kevin wasn't there, I'm curious if they would have been able to rob the toy store and still not being caught. You know what I mean? The fact that they plan their heist by like hanging out in kids' cubby houses in a toy store, and they discuss their plan with their heads out a fucking window. It's like, they deserve to be caught. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like, Joe Pesci says he's the smart one, and maybe he is, but he still agrees to like fucking do that.
Yeah, no, it's pretty dumb. But Nathan, we've talked a lot about these films. Now let's talk about specific moments, like specific moments, almost like stills or frames. So Nathan, what stills this movie?
Good segue, Brenton. Look at that. I'm bloody loving your segues.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that good. Let's not get carried away.
Okay, first episode. You and I, we were unanimous on both of these. So for the first movie, there's a scene in the movie where Joe Pesci, he's bloody looking around the house for Kevin. And he opens the door to the kitchen or the bathroom or something like that. And Kevin's strapped this liter full like gas canister of oil. And like Joe Pesci opens the door and the thing fucking unleashes this like full flamethrower on the top of his head. And puts Joe Pesci alight, and he's pulling this face like he's just stepped on some Lego.
This is like, when I think about Home Alone, this is the shot I think of, because it is like, and it's funny how like how it lingers, this kind of shot for like just that moment.
Yeah. And also it's all real. Like this is a real shot that they didn't CGI in. Like Joe Pesci's head is on fire.
It's incredible, and it's hilarious to look at. His face is like in nowhere near comparable to what is actually happening like on top of his head. Like, holy
And also,
fuck.
it's so funny because this takes place in such a lovely house. Like, behind him's this, like, cute little wallpaper and this quaint little wooden cupboard. It's, like, it's just so out of place.
Yeah.
And the second movie, do you want to talk about this moment, Brenton?
No. You chose this one as well, so you take it away.
In a vein similar to Inspector Gadget, where in that still, a man's eyes were bulging when he got grabbed by the balls. In Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, the tall robber. And we're so sorry we've forgotten his name because we love Joe Pesci and him as well. But like, there's a scene where he gets electrocuted, like high voltage. And it's not like he's just like touching some wires. Like Kevin is like ramping up like the kilowatts as he's touching this shit, and he's been like zapped alive. But for a brief moment, everyone making this movie decided this would be a good idea, where he turns into a literal skeleton.
It is absolutely bizarre. And it's again, it's something that kind of sums up the movie where you're just like, holy shit, like this kind of just like, you know, jumps the shark if ever I've seen something jump the shark, you know what I mean? But it's kind of stupid and funny at the same time. You're just like, right, well, there you go. Nathan, if our audience wants to view these stills that we select, and if you want to know what this segment's all about, obviously we select stills or frames from these films that we think are interesting or funny, and we put them up on our YouTube page. So go to there and check those out if you want to see what we're talking about. They're pretty funny. But Nathan, I've got another question for you. How did they make this making movie magic? Yeah. Nathan, Joe Pesci kept forgetting that he was filming a family movie during his character's on-screen outbursts. So Chris Columbus advised him to say fridge instead of the F word.
No, is that actually a thing?
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Because I could just, because Joe Pesci, I imagine he swears a lot in real life. So he's just like, oh, mother fridger, like. Because I have another thing on that. Because Joe Pesci did have a lot of difficulties. The only swear word that made it into the film was shit, because it was actually said by not Joe Pesci but the other guy, Daniel Stern, when his shoe fell through the doggy door.
Right.
So Joe Pesci doesn't even get the one swear of the movie.
Right. Good on you, Joe. We appreciate your effort there. Do you know that Catherine O'Hara revealed in 2014 that Macaulay Culkin still calls her mum?
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. I love that they'll go like a red carpet and they just have this like cute little attitude. It's like, oh, hi, mum. She's like, oh, hey, son.
She's like, oh, hi, mum. Hi, mum. How you going?
Or did she say that like she really doesn't like it? She's like, I'm not your fucking mother. Like she like shoos him off.
Oh, funny.
Did you know that for the tall robber, so his character's name's Harry, the other actors that were considered include Robert De Niro?
Really? Interesting.
Yeah. So we would have had Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro in this movie.
Right, yeah. That would be bizarre, but like kind of hilarious at the same time. I wish we'd kind of seen that. But the cast is pretty perfect as it is, though. Like, you know, we love your...
Oh, it's amazing. And I love both the robbers. But I would have loved to see De Niro and Pesci recreate their scene from Raging Bull where like they're standing inside the house and he's like, did you fuck my wife? Did you fuck my wife? And like McAllister's just standing there.
Nathan, did you know that Macaulay Culkin's stunt double was a very, very short 30-year-old man?
Oh, I would have loved to see the photos of those two together. Like, oh, that's great.
Brilliant.
Oh, that's so good. I bloody love it. So according to BuzzFeed, Brenton, so take this with a grain of salt, an injury occurred between Joe Pesci and Macaulay Culkin during one of the rehearsals where Pesci tries to bite off his Macaulay Culkin's finger, and right. Macaulay Culkin still has a scar from it.
Holy shit.
Of Joe Pesci's bite.
Wow. I mean, like, hey.
Watch where you're biting, Joe Pesci. You're not Jaws, buddy.
Chris Columbus would ask Joe Pesci to do his "How Am I Funny" speech from Goodfellas on set. In fact, Pesci was to have a similar scene with Daniel Stern, defensively questioning him about having an edge, and this scene was unfortunately deleted.
Oh, boo! Wait, if they filmed it, then it means hopefully it's out there somewhere.
Yeah, it'd be somewhere, maybe.
Oh, that'd be great. Oh, that'd be great, Brenton. Bloody love Joe Pesci. Did you like The Irishman?
I did. I thought it was great.
Me too. Fucking love it. It's just so good seeing them back together.
I think Bobby was was pretty amazing.
Yeah, same with Al Pacino and the whole cast. I was like, oh, what a movie. But Brenton, I've got some facts on Home Alone 2. Tell you what, Macaulay Culkin, he got paid so much to be in the sequel. So for the original, he was paid $110,000, which is pretty good for a child actor. But for the sequel, he was paid $4.5 million in the 90s.
Holy fuck.
I know. Could you imagine a child with $4.5 million?
Oh, wow. That's something else, you know what I'm saying? That's a lot of money for a little boy.
Oh, jeez. What do you think he would have done with it?
Hookers, for sure.
Just Kevin McAllister like, now I'm home alone.
Do you know that several of the cameras actually froze over during the production of the film because it was so cold?
Really? Oh,
yeah.
That's weird that they haven't gotten used to a New York winter.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. What an interesting conundrum.
Oh no. They're like, fuck, we're gonna have to like heat this up. Quickly, get the flamethrower. Did you know that the Plaza Hotel has an actual package, a holiday package called Live Like Kevin? That includes a complimentary ice cream sundae cart, a 25th anniversary backpack for the movie, and all of the Home Alone DVDs. That's
absolutely hilarious. And I'm going to look that up after this episode is finished because holy shit, that's bloody great.
You know where to bloody stay, buddy. I tell you what. It's great.
After filming one scene, Macaulay Culkin asked Joe Pesci why he never smiled, and Pesci told him to shut up. At the time, Pesci said, he's pampered by a lot of people, but not me, and I think he likes that.
They've got some weird hate-love thing going on.
Yeah, I know, right?
So when the pigeons attack which we didn't even talk about, when the fucking pigeons attack the criminals, which is just ludicrous. Yep. So during that scene, the tall one, he accidentally had a bird fly into his mouth in real life.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It was disgusting, actor Daniel Stern said later.
Oh my god, that is gross.
Imagine you rock up on set and that's your day of filming, being mauled by fucking pigeons.
Holy shit, dude. That's absolutely disgusting. Chris Columbus recalled that the production spent a lot of money on artificial snow for Central Park, and then New York City actually had a blizzard.
Oh my god, actually? Like,
yeah.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Jeez. Maybe this is a wish fulfilling franchise. Maybe this is like the continuation from Big, and maybe he just met that vending machine and just made all these wishes.
Maybe.
My last fact, which I love this fact as well. So the food that Kevin orders as room service, in real life, all that would actually cost $967, which is what the movie gives as its final total.
Really?
Yeah. So in that hotel with the amount of food and the service and all that kind of stuff is $967.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
And by the way, do you wish now that we had seen this movie before our food episode?
Yeah. I don't know if it would have made the list, but yeah, it would have been interesting to talk about.
Dude, that room service is fucking incredible.
I mean, yeah, it does look tasty. It does look good.
Oh, it's so good.
Well, Nathan, it comes to that point in the show where I say, Hey! Let's look at this film's poster. Nathan, there's two posters here, obviously, because we're talking about two different films.
What do you think of the first poster?
Okay, look, I know that this is classic.
What it is, listeners, it's Macaulay Culkin, pulled a scared, dumb face, at the center of the poster, and behind him is a window with Joe Pesci and the tall one looking through the back windows.
Yeah, and it says Home Alone, a family comedy without the family. But don't worry, he cooks, he cleans, he kicks some butt. Nathan, I don't love this poster if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, because it's weird. It's iconic, so it does its job, and yet I feel like there could be better posters.
Nathan, if I was going to pick a still to use for that first poster, it would be the still that we selected of Joe Pesci with the flamethrower to his head.
I mean, tell you what, if I saw a poster with Joe Pesci having his hair caught alive, that would definitely make me go into the movie cinema.
For sure.
And the second one is it's him reading a newspaper in front of the Empire State Building. And it with the criminals both peeping up from behind it, looking a little bit weird, and with the slogan, he's up
past his bedtime in the city that never sleeps. Oh my gosh, Nathan.
Jeez.
What's hilarious about this is it insinuating that the two criminals have in their time in jail have become fucking giants?
That's the thing. Also, one, they look like absolute giants. Two, I also realized just now, Brenton, I reckon the criminals would have been bullied in prison and been attacked for the fact that a child sent them to prison.
For sure.
But I do like that these criminals are like King Kong kind of figures in this poster. I I think the second one's great. First one might need some changes. Now, Brenton, title talk. Was he Home Alone and Home Alone?
He certainly was. I don't know if there's a better title for these films. I think it's pretty spot on. And obviously,
although I don't really like the subtitle for the second movie, Lost in New York. Like,
no, it's a bit shitty. Yeah.
Also, he was never really that lost. He knew exactly where he was going the whole movie.
Totally.
He had his little address book. Like, he knew exactly where all the landmarks were. Like, he wasn't lost for a second.
He certainly wasn't. Well, Nathan, now it comes to that point in the show where I pass the power to the people. Let's pass it to the people, the power.
Passing it to the people. All right, so Home Alone 1 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got 65% from the critics and 80% from the audiences. Brenton, what are your thoughts?
I'm surprised the critics didn't like this more. Like, to be honest, like I thought that this was probably more renowned. But hey, man, I guess it makes sense. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good movie.
Let's find out why. What are they saying?
Rachel Wagner from Rachel's Reviews.
G'day, Rachel. She's a wagon.
G'day, Rachel Wagner. A lot of people love Home Alone around the holidays, but I love Home Alone all year round. 9 out of 10.
Could you watch this movie outside Christmas, Brenton?
Absolutely, you could. And still have a fun time.
Yeah, so I can see why she loves it. Like, it definitely gets you in that Christmas mood, doesn't it?
For sure.
Tim Brayton from Agony and Ecstasy didn't like it, Brendan. Gave it 4 out of 10, and he wrote, a better director could have helped the film out considerably, even saved it. But then again, the script is tremendously weak by Hughes' standards or anybody else's. I don't think it was poorly directed.
No, I think it's more the script has issues. Like, we're not denying that. The script has issues.
Oh, who would have thought from the writer of The Breakfast Club? I tell you what.
Hey, fuck off. But at the same time, it's meant to be enjoyed for what it is, I think, and you kind of got to put, it's kind of a fantasy in its own way. But again, admittedly, it's pretty fucking stupid. But Jake Euchre says, this slapstick is vicious. A family film? 1 out of 5.
Do you think as a child you'd be traumatized by the slapstick?
No, God, no.
Yeah, I think definitely for the first movie, the violence even then might be a turn off for some people. They must be like, this is too funny and I feel sorry for these guys. Like, I don't know. I think it's a possibility.
Totally.
Garen M gave it 4 stars and wrote, Home Alone is a classic Christmas comedy. We watch it every year. Don't listen to the critics. They are snobby. So he says we can watch the Christmas every year, Brenton. Look at that. There's one of them for you.
Yeah, I'm not going to. That's my choice. That's my right. Joey G gives this 0.5 star and says, terrible movie! Even worse than the 4th Jaws movie. Child abuse, leaving children at home, and doesn't deserve to exist.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I mean, I feel like we're learning more about Joey G than the movie here. Like, you know what I mean? Oh no. He sounds similar to this anonymous review who gave it a 0.5 star, Brenton, and wrote, this movie busted out my eardrums and I will never be the same. The loud noises were completely unnecessary and uncalled for. The little boy is a hoodlum and should not be allowed in society as we know it. He is manipulative and terrorizes his neighborhood endlessly. Put him in an orphanage and never leave the system. The Italian man was good though. I appreciate the representation. Jeez! What is this review?
My favourite thing is that the little boy is a hoodlum and should not be allowed in society. Oh, hilarious. That's bloody great. Brandon Bryant says, best Christmas movie of all time. Get fucked, Brandon. It's not. No, seriously. This is not... It's a Wonderful Life is the greatest Christmas film of all time.
Whoa.
Closely followed by Ron Howard's The Grinch.
No, it's not, Brenton. Stop saying Grinch is a good movie. It's not a good movie.
That's it. This is the best fucking Christmas movie there is.
Brenton just loves it because he can do the Grinch impression. Did you ever see that animated one, that new one from last year?
No, I refuse. You can't improve a classic, Nathan.
No, evidently not. Jesus. And lastly, Miss Gail wrote on YouTube, Kevin was my first crush.
Well, Gail, that's lovely that you were fucking crushing on a 10-year-old, and maybe you should be put away.
Oh my goodness, I'm sure she was a child, Brenton, when she was crushing on Kevin.
Hey, you never know. Don't assume anything, Nathan.
Oh no. What did they say for the sequel?
Home Alone 2 Lost in New York stands at 32% on the tomato meter. Holy
Jeez.
shit. Holy fuck. with an audience score of 61%. Wow, that's a big difference.
I know. Critics were not kind to this, mate. And you can see why. Like, it's so derivative and, like, it is extreme in all the worst ways, you know?
Nathan, take us away. What does Janet Maslin say?
So she's from the New York Times, Brenton, and she didn't like it. She wrote, "It's much more violent than the first film's comparable set of dirty tricks, and Kevin, removed from his embattled home, seems much more cavalier, possibly even meaner than his bullying older brother Buzz."
Whoa, there's a lot of shade thrown there. Especially comparing, like, saying he's worse
but
than
you know what?
Buzz.
It is weird that Kevin allows himself to get bullied for his older brother, you know? 'Cause,
Yeah,
like, he can easily do the same shit that he
is.
does to the criminals to his brother.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's slightly odd. But like, at the same time, maybe he just knows deep down that if he did that, like, he'd be caught and have to be, like, put in a system, you know what I mean? Like, he'd be in the foster system quicker than anything, you know what I mean? It'd be like, oh, fuck, this kid's, like, he needs to go to juvie, you know what I mean? Fucking hell. Nathan...
OEW gave it 3.5 stars and wrote, "The Home Alone sequel is entertaining, but it's just reusing the same jokes and premise of the first one."
Oh, fuck no. God, no.
Oh my
Please,
goodness. No. I mean... Oh yeah, could you imagine if they swapped? So the shovel guys in the second movie and the pigeon ladies in the first?
Harrison C. gives it 3 stars and says, "A time capsule from 1992. Wonderfully unrealistic and suspiciously sadistic Christmas classic." Yes, suspiciously sadistic is a great way to sum it up.
I mean, but would you argue the Grinch is a little bit sadistic too? Like, he does some mean things.
Yeah, but it's fucking hilarious.
Oh my goodness.
when he sets the tree alight and shit and he's like running away and he like the fucking car explodes, that the little car explodes, and it's like that scene from every fucking like action movie ever of him like being blasted away by the explosion. It's bloody great, Nathan, and it's all tongue in cheek, and then the village rebuilds it like straight after. Like, it's like it's even funnier that it has like literally no effect on anyone, and he's just like, well, shit, you know.
Oh my goodness.
Goes back up to Mount Crumpet, hangs out. It's great.
Okay, that's it. Next, okay, we need to get into this. I think next Christmas we're gonna have to do Grinch.
Yay!
Because I need to knock this shit down.
Yes.
PHT on YouTube said, "I feel kind of bad for them."
I do too. Yeah, I do too. I feel... Yeah,
I feel sorry for the people in real life that have to like meet him, like fans, and like they must be just like giving him hugs, just being like, "Oh, are you okay?" I know about the pigeons.
He's like, what? He's like, why the fuck are you touching me? Like,
yeah,
I don't fucking know
get the
you.
fuck off me! Like,
Life of Jadam, great fucking name there. Now that I look back at this movie, it helped me learn not even blood can be trusted.
It's true. What a horrible family. Like, oh jeez.
Fuck. Thank God I'm in my family and not that shitty fucking like situation. Good
I
lord.
know. But then again, it's a lot smaller than theirs, so like different dynamics, Brenton.
Totally. Yeah. Nathan, that was Home Alone 1 and 2.
Oh.
Merry Christmas, bitches.
Merry Christmas. Oh, no, genuinely, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, man. I've got a warm, tingly feeling on the inside. And do you know why?
Why?
Because I watched that masterpiece, Ron Howard's The Grinch last night.
Oh my God, fuck off. I feel tingly because I watched a great movie called Home Alone and a not so great movie, Home Alone 2 Lost in New York.
Well, that's good on you, Nathan. I'm glad. As long as, you know what, as long as everyone's enjoying their own Christmas movies and...
Yeah, Brenton, you go back to the fucking bathroom and I'll bloody tell the listeners to tweet at us and comment at us and let us know what your favorite Christmas movies are.
And you can tweet at us like a little bird, like a little pigeon. But pigeons don't tweet, they go brrr. So yeah, I mean, like that's our Christmas episode done for the year, done for 2019.
That is our Christmas episode. One more. Next week we go back to Bond, buddy. So
can't wait for that. Woo!
But Brenton, I should let you know now that you're here. It's not Hogwarts without you, Brenton.
Ho, 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 ho. Ho, 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 ho. Come here, you little boy.